I remember calling you at work. I remember having the poster board on the wall that shared like the stores we were going to be in that year and the potential revenue that we could have made. And I felt like if I could do this on my own, imagine what I could do if I had like my best friend, a person that gets me and that like doubles me and more, how much more we could do. So I remember the phone call. I remember calling you at work and you're like, yeah, baby, because we used to like talk a lot. You remember?
I remember.
Yeah? How were you feeling when I called you?
Oh, I just felt busy because I knew there was a lot of work to do at the work I was doing as a banker, and I wanted to be able to help with what you were doing as well.
I remember the call. I was scared, but I'm like, sometimes in those when I'm ever like bustling with an idea that I just need to make happen, I just don't even pre-think it. So I just call and I'm like, Vontoba, you remember? Like, I need your help. I need you to come on board. I need you to leave work. It's time now. But we had already kind of talked about the timing. Yeah. Usually every year in August, I feel like something new for the next year. And I think it was August when I told you at home. I don't know when I called you. When was the timing? Do you remember?
You called me in November. It was November to say, hey, it's time. And I went and talked to our senior vice president right that moment. I said,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I need to talk to you. Psyche called me and she said it's time. And
I'm gonna cry actually, for real. Like I didn't know the story.
Yeah. So after I got off the phone with you, I went and talked to him, and it was totally blindsided him because I was like, I got to do this, and he was basically like, well, let me think about how we're going to do this, because the bank I was working at, they had promoted me. They didn't want to lose me. They were like, we got to figure something out. So they actually gave me a chance to come back within a month and a half if I decided that entrepreneurship wasn't for me. But I knew when I got that call that, hey, we need to do this together, because that was the plan from the beginning. But, when you're having children, and we had 3 children in the first 5 years of the business starting, you can't both take the leap. You got to have a parachute, and
you were the chute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I guess that was how I don't know what I knew, how I knew. I knew in August. I knew when I prayed, and I knew when the Holy Spirit shared with me that it's time to go. But my time is never like in that moment. There's time before the time. And I guess when it was time to go, I just went. And again, I saw the number. I saw what I could do on my own, but I realized that I could do so much more if Vontoba was like partnered with me, not just at home and not just in the evenings, which you totally were, like boxing things up as soon as you got home. I don't know, you were working 2 jobs for sure.
It felt like it sometimes, but I mean, you were doing all the heavy lifting. I mean, you're doing the shipping, some of the accounting, you were doing merchandising, product creation, even manufacturing and starting a factory.
Yeah.
When you were 32 weeks pregnant.
Yeah.
And
we did a lot.
I mean, hey, I did what I could on lunch breaks and in the evening, but I was impressed. And I was very proud of the fact that you were able to do that at the same time having the kids at home. And I had a long commute, remember?
Yes.
I would leave at like 7 a.m. and come back at 6 p.m. and take the products you had boxed up during the day over to UPS. And you tell me about what you did during the day, and it was amazing. And you're like talking to, at the time, different magazines and TV show producers and PR firms and just big department stores and retailers. And at the same time, and I took our son for a walk, or I took our daughter out to do this, and I'm like, how? It's amazing.
It is. It's definitely. I hope it inspires someone that it can be done. I remember breastfeeding and pumping, and sometimes you leaving work or taking days off to get us to different meetings in Arkansas, or flying across the country and pumping the night before, leaving out super early and coming right back super early just so I could be right back for the babies because they needed me.
Yeah.
And I knew.
We took them a lot with us.
We sure did. They've been along the ride the whole time. So I don't know that there was just like a moment when I knew, but definitely it's been the entire point of like wanting to own a business together. Yeah. But when we took the leap, I think it was definitely scary. Every leap is
Oh
scary.
yeah, it was scary,
But
because we
here we are.
weren't necessarily paying ourselves what we knew we were worth
Yeah.
from our time in corporate America. We were
Yeah.
on an entrepreneur's salary,
Yeah.
and making it sort of happen.
Yeah.
But it did work. The
Yeah.
business grew.
And here we are.
Yep, and here we are.